Hi guys, in this video I'm gonna show you how I made a modern lamp from wood and 3D printed parts. I started by cutting the wood to size in a miter saw. Then I fitted the wood in the 3D printed parts, which would be the support for all the three legs. Knowing that it was all fitting, I disassembled everything and then started by sanding it with a belt sander, then smoothing it by hand with a fine grit sandpaper. The edges were too sharp, so I decided to sand them. I fitted the legs on the support again, so I could mark where the holes were going to be. I used the drill press to drill the holes, making sure they were perpendicular to the wood, and I tried to drill from both sides of the wood to prevent some blowout. I picked up a piece of threaded rod so I can use it as bolts to fix the wood to the support. I measured the length I needed and I marked it with some tape so I could cut it where the mark was. First I cut where my mark was, then I tried to cut 3 equal parts to use as bolts. Cutting on that kind of machine doesn't leave a very clean cut, so I took the bolts and brought it to the disc sander to smooth them and also to enable the threads to thread in. I then checked to see if they threaded, and if not, I made some adjustments. At this time I picked up the threaded rods and the nuts, and I checked if everything was fitting in the support and the holes I drilled in the wood. This is when I realized the holes in the wood and the holes on the support are not matching. So I picked up a drill and made the holes match. I was checking if everything was looking good and I noticed the distance between the tripod and the lampshade would be too small. So I designed and printed another piece that I've glued onto the other one so I could increase the distance a bit. While the glue was drying, I started to do the wiring of the lamp. I won't go through much detail on this part because this will completely depend on your socket and on your plug, so if they're different, the whole thing is gonna be different. Now that the wiring is done, it's time to disassemble the support and the legs to start painting the support. I applied a very thick coat of primer, not worrying about drips because I was gonna sand after. I used a 240 grit sandpaper to sand the first coat of primer and then applied the final layer of primer. This is just a spray primer from Rust-Oleum. After it dried, it was time to start painting. I used the Bondex Chorus Top. This is a metal paint which you can use directly over rust. This kind of paint, it's not meant for this kind of work, but I decided to give it a try because I really like the looks of the paint. It's like a forged steel effect. After it dried, I tried to insert the threaded tube that goes inside the lamp socket. But with the paint and the primer, the hole got smaller, so I had to widen it again with a drill bit. I started staining the legs. I realized shortly after that this wasn't the color I wanted, but I decided to let it go till the end and see how it looked. After the first coat has dried, I sanded lightly, again with a 240 grit paper, as recommended by the product instructions. So after sanding, I cleaned the legs with a rag before starting applying the second coat. I started what I thought it was gonna be the final assembly, but again the holes were too small because of the paint and the primer, so I had to widen them again with a drill bit so I could thread the nuts and threaded rod. At this time I added the wiring to the tripod itself. Then it was a matter of screwing the lamp socket and after adding the lampshade. Finally I looked for a comfortable height to put the switch on and then I installed it. Again, I'm not gonna go through detail on this because your switch may be different than mine. And it's done! So thank you for watching, and if you like this video, there's gonna be plenty more on my channel, so please subscribe and give it a thumbs up.